Hello YouTube, it's been a minute and I'll be completely honest here, I've been playing Khazan and I've been stuck on the last boss for the longest time. But I'm finally here making this video because I stand victorious. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the First Berserker Khazan played on the PS5. My name is Isaac, and if you want to hear more of my stories, be sure you drop a like, comment and sub to the channel. Now without further ado, let's begin. Starting with our story, it's your classic action-packed early 2000s revenge story. Think God of War 2005. In the 89th year of the lost Pell Empire, a war would be waged between humans and the Dragonkin. At the forefront of the attack would be Khazan, the player character, and Ozma, a powerful mage who is Khazan's best friend. The Empire's greatest combatants would have to face Ismar, a true dragon in every sense of the word. With the odds stacked against them, somehow the duo managed to defeat Ismar and bring peace to the Empire. The hero's welcome they received would be one to be remembered for the ages. Upon their return, they would be greeted as traitors instead of heroes. They would be imprisoned, tortured, and sentenced to execution. While being transported to his execution, Khazan's prison transport would get caught in an avalanche, sending them down the mountain. However, this avalanche was magical in nature. It was caused by the Blade Phantom, a servant of the Netherworld who is looking for a body to possess, and Khazan would have been perfect. Except Khazan has a will harder than diamond and would not let himself be possessed by the Phantom. Realizing that neither one of them could achieve their goals without the other, with this in mind, they decide to form a pact, reluctantly so. Khazan would let the Phantom use his body to stop the forces of chaos, while the Phantom would give Khazan his power to get his revenge on the Emperor who dared betray him and his sworn brother, Ozma. As you play the game and continue to advance, you'll uncover more and more of the truth. It's going to be up to you whether or not you decide to keep digging for the truth or simply blindly follow Khazan's rage. Although the story may be sad, it will not be one of loneliness, since on your adventures you'll be meeting NPCs that often serve a purpose at your hub area. Unfortunately, these NPCs don't really develop much. They're more or less just there to move the story forward or give a new function at the hub area. For example, blacksmith. The story is enjoyable and most of it will be told through character dialogue instead of cutscenes. Thankfully, the voice acting is good in English.
The phantom within you loves battle, thrives on it. It must have searched for a body strong enough to survive in battle, which is why it chose you. This sanctuary must have been quite the prize for a spirit like that. Storm Pass is where the mightiest Bantu warriors are born. There is a strangely familiar presence among the ghosts within you. I believe it to be the spirit of an ancient Bantu warrior.
However, I'd recommend playing the game in Korean on a second playthrough. There are some small surprises for those of you who are paying attention. If you're looking for a good story that is easy to digest while keeping you engaged, the First Berserker Khazan is my current top pick for 2025. Gameplay. On first impressions, Khazan looks like a Souls-like, and to be fair, it carries many of the same elements such as bonfires and a legacy leveling system. However, in this case, it's called Blade Nexus and Lacrima. But after putting in 150 hours, I can say it feels more like an action game with a stamina bar. You have combos, skill trees, and even a super move that I won't be showing here, but you catch my drift. If you need a comparison, it's a lot closer to Neo than it is to Elden Ring per se. Some of the major differences would include the speed. Khazan is much faster in the game. You could easily chain multiple actions back to back as long as your stamina and spirit allow it. Your spirit is kind of like your mana. As for the parrying in combat, think Sekiro. You're going to have to do multiple parries back to back before you have an opportunity to counter. Because if you just like counter after each parry, eventually you will get caught. Because some of those bosses, man, their attacks come quick. Hello there. Ooh, bam, bam, bam. Another major difference would be we only have 3 weapon choices: spear, dual wield, and greatsword. These weapons radically play differently from each other. It pretty much feels like you're playing a completely different character, and it's a real shame you can't switch mid-combat. I think it's a missed opportunity. You still have to play methodically and choose your moments, but it's clear to me that Khazan rewards an aggressive playstyle, which gives it that action game vibe. However, I'd say its biggest departure, which is actually its closest similarity to Neo, is that the game is completely level based. You do have a hub area called Crevice where you'll have your NPCs such as a shopkeep, blacksmith, upgrading your gear, things of that nature. In that hub area, you'll also be able to access set regions. Now, when you go to a region, it's not like you have a big open world area. No, you open the region and then you have select missions. You can choose missions while you're in that region, but there is no interconnectivity from mission to mission. After completing a story mission, you will gain access to bonus missions or side missions, whatever you want to call them. Do yourself a favor, don't skip the side missions. And just like in Neo, the side missions are essentially chunks of the main mission rearranged with different enemies, and you might start at the end of the level and you have to make it to the beginning. It's very basic things. You won't be seeing anything new in those side missions, but you will get some very important items, so do the side missions. Pros. The story is engaging yet easy to digest, which is nice after all the blockbuster-esque movie-like games we've been getting over the past decade. The combat is a major plus for me. I have no complaints about it, and with every good combat system, you need a killer soundtrack, and I'm glad to say that Khazan knocks it out of the park, especially with the boss music. Honestly, I am surprised at the level of quality for the audio department. That parry sound, that ping, it's delicious.
Hello there. Ooh, bam, bam, bam.
Armor sets. These armors were made for aura farming. I mean, look at the drip from my man Khazan. Called this game the first him. I'm sorry. Alright, that's enough. On the real, the armor looks great, but they have some effects that once again really changes your playstyle. Yes, guys, Khazan has meaningful loot. It's not just a bunch of trash loot where just a bunch of increase in numbers. The armor sets that you find will legitimately change your gameplay style, and it's just fantastic. I wish more games had meaningful loot. Moving on to the cons, the locations. Although the locations look cool, the color palette is a lot of gray and brown, and after a while things begin to look a little samey, and unfortunately it doesn't get better. The further you progress, the more brown you get, and it brings down the overall wow factor of the environment. Also, there's a lot of caves, and I mean like a lot of caves. We have the best caves. I'm sorry. The difficulty spike. Now, for those of you who are new to the channel, I'm a bit of a Souls/action game veteran, and these games generally follow the same rule that as you progress through the story, bosses get harder, and every once in a while there'll be a jump in difficulty, but it ain't nothing crazy. But in Khazan, boy, there are 3 bosses in this game that the damage output just shoots through the roof. There's almost no room for error, which makes learning the fight frustrating. Losing because I made a mistake is one thing, but losing because I simply don't know what's happening since the fight ends so quickly every single time, well, that's just aggravating. I mean, like, at least give me the chance to learn the combo. Like, and you know exactly what bosses I'm talking about if you guys have played the game. I know this is a spoiler free, so I'll say the first one because it's pretty much early game, but Viper, man. A lot of repeat bosses. Now, to be fair, all the repeat bosses have some kind of twist to them, like their movesets having a different finisher, and they're all in the side missions. But that doesn't change the fact that there's a lot of them for the number of unique bosses that we have to begin with. Big bugs. Lastly, the game has some bugs, and unfortunately they're big ones. Items that are not dropping after quests, or tasks you've completed to obtain recipes not unlocking after completing said task. One of the most annoying bugs has to do with the trophies, as in the trophy won't unlock even though you've completed the mission. Thankfully the devs do work fast, but that doesn't change the fact that these bugs are there and need to be addressed ASAP. Final thoughts. The First Berserker Khazan is probably my favorite game with a legacy leveling system. Yes, I said it. I like it more than Elden Ring. But that's because I like action games, and that's what it is. An action game with a stamina bar. If I had to give it a rating, it would be an 8 out of 10. However, that's subject to change. What brings the game from a 9 to an 8 are all the bugs. Once those have been fixed, I could see the game being a solid 9.5, and with future DLC, it could become a real 10 out of 10. And now I bet y'all think I'm gonna say to go buy this game right now. And normally, you would be right. However, I had to buy this game at full price, and the fact that there are bugs that straight up stop you from finishing the game, I cannot recommend buying this game at full price at launch. My recommendation would be to wait a month, maybe 2, and see what the devs do about all of these bugs. That's going to be it for me. I hope y'all enjoyed. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. Did you play the game? Are you planning on buying it? Let me know in that comment section. While you're down there, don't forget to like, share, and sub to the channel. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.